You are listening to the 2.5 Weebs podcast, a show where two veteran anime fans drag a newbie down the rabbit hole of waifus, isekai, and fan service, as well as the happenings in the gaming world. The show is recorded every Sunday live on the Mixer channels of Comfimus and Mr. Vengeance. Enjoy.
All right, everybody. Welcome to another episode of 2.5 Weebs. This week is going to be us discussing the anime awards that Crunchyroll did. I believe Crunchyroll. Yeah, they did that yesterday.
This is our totally original anime awards show that nobody's done before.
Right, 100%.
Yes, the Crunchyroll awards were on yesterday. We're also going to be first talking about our series we're following along on episode 6, except for Dale because he didn't watch it.
I told you guys that, and then you weren't supposed to call me out on the actual podcast. All right, so
he doesn't like getting called out, and we also would never call him out for not watching the right episode last week as well.
Look, no, I called myself out last week. I was trying to play it off, but these guys are dicks.
We are.
Yeah, I did watch episode. I watched episode 4 and 5, which was the ones that I missed last week.
Except for episode 6, which is the one we watched.
Yeah, so I'm only one episode behind this week. Last week I was 2 episodes behind, so like we're getting there.
So we'll do a quick synopsis of the episode.
Yeah.
The series is still good. Has no overtone. It's still doing the weird.
This was a slow episode.
It's a slower episode. There's only a couple really important things. It's slower in terms of there's no action really in the episode, but it goes quickly, if that makes sense. Like, it doesn't seem like you're watching it for the full length of time that it runs. Which is weird because most of the episode is exposition. They're just talking. So
explanations and stuff that you might want.
Where we'd left off previously, they're in the police officer's apartment, and they're just talking about how monsters of imagination work and how to combat them. She gets more information about the actual death of, as far as the police were concerned, of the girl in question.
Nanase.
And then they go and visit the place where she died, and there's a ghost there because ghosts are kind of everywhere.
Spooky ghosts.
They're ghosts. They exist.
This one happens to be human who died on the construction site as well. He was actually a construction worker.
Okay.
And he was an eyewitness to what actually happened, so he tells them what actually occurred, what she was doing beforehand, how she dies. Which kind of lands up with what the police had been thinking anyway.
She was depressed and she died.
Yeah, so then the only really other important story beat is that they're like, they should go our plan to combat her, which is basically to replace the Still Lady story with a newer, more interesting story woven together from actual facts, but still fictional.
Every good lie has a little bit of truth in it.
The best lies do. Would rob the beast of imagination of her power, and she, end up fading away. So like, okay, this is great. It's going to work. As long as nobody gets killed before tomorrow, we're fine. So we cut to a scene where the detective, who had given our other police officer the files and whatnot, he first questioned her about it. We've seen him a couple episodes. He confronts the ghost because, fucking course he does. Tries to punch it because he doesn't understand that it's a ghost. And then the ghost crushes his face with the steel beam.
Oh, so he's dead. Okay.
So he dead. Yeah, he real dead.
He got smashed.
Okay.
That's kind of the whole episode. So it's a slower episode because there's just a lot of talking.
There was one important thing that they covered, which was our good boy Kuro actually explains how him seeing the future works.
He explains how the Kudon power works. So
which
it's not so much
more up than you think it is.
So it's not that Kudons can see and predict the future. What they're doing is actually think of it as like a branch. This is how he explains it. So there's the one stalk going back, right, which is the past. And the past is always set. It's the one path. But forward, there's these infinite branches sprouting off of it. So what a Kudon does is it can reach forward and grab a certain branch out of all the mirrored possibilities and force that to become reality. shaving off all the branches that are around that one. And so that one, until you get to that point, becomes the actual future, and then things start branching off again.
Got it.
Now, there are limits to this. If something is too remote of a possibility, because anything is technically possible, then the Kudan doesn't have enough power to grasp that branch. There's a limited time scale of how much time it has to look at the possibilities and grasp one. It's why the things they see are often very short in the future, rather than something that's going to be like 10 years ahead, right? Because the farther away you go, the less possible something is as well, because there's so many branching possibilities to reach that point. They'd have to follow along. So as long as something is closer, it's easy to grasp and force into reality. But that's basically what he's doing.
Gotcha.
And now Kudan, when it does this, dies. But because he's got the mermaid in him as well, and he's functionally immortal, he can force a future into place and then come back to life.
But do you think he's ever been in a mermaid? That's the question.
I mean, a mermaid's been in him because he ate one.
I know I know. I made a dumb joke, Copper. Just let it go.
I mean, have you seen Japanese mermaids?
Yeah, they look fucking weird.
They're not pretty.
No, they're not.
like-
Ariel does not
Quite
look like
terrifying.
They're
Yeah.
like fish with monstrous heads,
Yeah.
like human heads. Is
that. Yeah, I
really
saw it.
weird.
They actually showed it in the anime. Like, yeah,
They do. They show
They
a
do.
very old style of drawing of one.
right.
That's the only true drawings of them that exist, though. Is that
So
traditional style of painting?
Yep.
that's pretty much what happens in the episode. As you know, we
Yeah,
said,
there
it's
wasn't much more than that, but that was like
it's a
a
slower
couple of
episode.
heavy story beats.
But there's a couple of, as Comfy just said, there's a couple of really interesting heavy story beats that set stuff up, and it's kind of following along with the pacing of the previous episodes, where it's like
Yeah,
slower episode, fast episode, slower episode, fast episode, right?
sure.
And it's kind of the pacing you get from police shows and old, serial type of like movies and stuff like that, where they're detective stories, where it's a little slow going as they research and dig into crimes, and then there's the fast pace as they try to catch the perpetrator. And that's kind of what we're doing here. So it fits really well, like so far, and it's not as bad as the snake episode, which was really fucking slow.
Oh yeah.
So
Sorry, I was imitating the snake for a second.
I think we're probably going to have a better pacing. Like, I think that's probably going to be our slowest episode. But it's still a recommend for watching. We're still dealing with super saturated colors, but again, it's so the things that are super saturated, such as the Still Lady Ghost, stand out super well.
Yeah.
So it's a stylized choice. I just don't. They could have went with dark tones that were saturated.
Don't like it.
Yeah, everything looks gray. There's a different tonal choice they could have made.
And gotten a similar effect.
Yeah, and it would have gotten a similar effect. That would have looked like the animation wasn't old, because that's the effect I get from desaturating stuff like that. Is it looks very old.
I think that's what they were going for.
Or it can also come off as cheap though, and that's not something you want. Not in animation, anyways. But yeah, that's pretty much the episode. There's not a lot to talk about there because really nothing happens in this one. So.
Except for that one very important character getting very dead.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
Is
yeah,
that
right at the end? Yeah.
Do they basically end it with that?
Yeah.
Yeah,
It ends with him dying, and then the
And
last
then a
scene
montage
is
of like computer screens going like,
Where,
what? He was the police
people-
detective.
where people online are talking about it and like, is it the Still Lady? Did she kill him? And then there's a girl sitting at a computer desk who might be
The
the
protagonist?
sister
No.
of the girl who died, or it might actually be her.
Oh.
Because it's hard to say, because there's a mystery going on there about why she let herself die, because she basically let herself die. She didn't try to move away from the steel beams. She was crying before she did, which is not something you would expect from someone who had murdered her dad and was basically on the run,
Right.
which is what she's accused of. Her older sister had argued with the police, saying that there was no way her younger sister would have committed suicide or let herself die. which is strange because she's the person who would benefit the most from her sister dying, because all of the inheritance that her sister and her dad would have had would come to her.
Right.
At the point before her sister dying, though, things are split and there's a lot of tension between the two. She's the person who basically said that her sister murdered their father. She's the source of that.
Wow,
And
this sounds very suspicious.
So there's this weird conflict about why it's going on there, and then so showing that figure at the end is also an important beat, but it's literally like 5 seconds of screen time, and that's it.
Okay.
So what you're telling me is that her sister is the one who pushed over the steel beams, and then she was just so amazed that her sister would kill her.
The steel beams fell by themselves according to the eyewitness that was there, which we found out.
But the eyewitness might not have had a perfect angle on it.
Yes, but he might not have actually seen what's going on or stuff like that, so it's hard to say. But
it was the sister the whole time.
Or they could have been rigged to fall, because what was a 19-year-old girl doing in a construction site, standing around smoking at least 5 cigarettes, which means you've been there for at least, half an hour or so in the pouring rain at like 1 a.m. in the morning. So there's a lot of questions that they had gone over. There's not a lot of answers thrown out.
Mm-hmm.
Don't kind of really honestly know what's going on. So this is kind of a setup episode. So not a lot happens, but there are a few things to pay attention to in it. But given how the show works, we've seen previously, the next episode should give us more information about what we've seen in this episode to explain what's going on. That's kind of how they've been doing things.
Mm-hmm. That's probably what I was going to be.
If you like detective stories, this is seeming like it's going to be an interesting anime. If you don't, you've probably dipped out by now. To be honest with everybody.
But hey, don't worry, we'll cover the anime awards at some point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, or if you don't like slower pacing, this show is also not going to be for you, because there's going to be a lot of slower pacing. I have a feeling in this show.
So
so that's Inspector. The episode Dale did not watch.
Hey, I didn't.
We have the time.
I meant to watch
Dale
it.
doesn't know how to watch shows properly.
What have you guys been up to this week, though? Before we get hopping in, like, I know Copper's had a rough week.
I've had a rough. No, not a rough week. It was Friday. That was Friday.
Oh, okay, yeah.
All that on one day. So it's like, oh my god.
I missed all of this.
I know. That's because I was talking to Dale this morning. So my week's was pretty slow before Friday. Just basically doing work and that. And then Friday rolled around, and everybody knows Friday was Valentine's Day, so there's that. Friday was also the day where I started doing house sitting and dog sitting, which includes sitting a puppy who's never been away from my parents while they're away for 9 days. So I'm not going to be around online much this coming week while they're gone, because I'll be here to do some work a few hours a day, and then I got to go back over there. Thankfully, I don't live too far from my folks' place, but so it was Valentine's Day. It was that day to start taking care of that stuff and doing that. It's also my parents' anniversary on Friday. In addition, it's a long weekend here, so we had to get shopping and stuff done. Liv has started her studying for her finals for exams, because the last week of school was this week first. Next week is all for exam stuff, so that's going on. And then when she's at school, she gets a call saying her uncle has passed away from a surprise heart attack. So it's been a week.
Well then.
Yeah.
It's terrible.
And that was just one day. Then we had
that's a lot.
We had the then we had the D&D thing, stuff for that. We had, and then all the stuff to go through for this episode here of the podcast, because we're covering the award show, and there's a lot of categories.
There are a lot of categories.
So it's been a bit of a time.
Yeah, sorry, buddy. I hope it gets better.
Yeah, I can't see things keeping this pace. Then and on top of that, Kevin had also told me that he wants to NDA me for a bunch of stuff. So
that's
I'm waiting on paperwork.
Good.
So that'll be interesting.
Paperwork.
But I won't be able to talk about it. So
Yeah, that's how
Talk
NDAs
to
work.
me before you sign the paperwork.
But then he wouldn't know what the NDAs are about.
Yeah, I'm not being told anything before I sign the
Don't
paperwork.
worry.
Is how it's gonna go. But I know, in essence, like overarching what it's for, because I've already done a couple things for it without being NDA. But more than that, I can't really say. So
Sure.
it'll be interesting though, for sure.
We'll talk. We'll get to that later.
So yeah, what
Oh
about...
yeah, and the girlfriend is also concerned about Comfy's health.
Yeah, because I am just, you know,
Falling apart.
I am as a human being am falling apart. So
Mhm.
I had to go get an MRI or MRE on Friday. So that was my Valentine's Day. It was great. It was just me in a metal tube for an hour.
This is after dealing with the nurse from hell.
Oh my god. No. Okay, I need to explain this because I thought I was going fucking insane. All right. So this nurse, or she's not even a nurse. She's the front desk attendant. Like
More than likely actually a nurse, just so you know.
I do not believe so. I will tell you what. This lady I do not believe was a nurse, mostly because her name tag definitely did not say nurse on it and did not have any actual credentials.
They usually won't for nurses.
Well, that's not fun. So I have to fill out my paperwork, right? And so I'm filling out the paperwork like a normal human being. I give it to her and she's like, "Okay, I need your like driver's license and your insurance card." And I was like, "Okay, sure, whatever. I don't care." And so she takes my driver's license because I didn't have my insurance card with me. I'm going to recreate this on camera if you would like to see, using a Jamba Juice gift card so that you don't get any of my information. So I don't have an iPad to show you, but I do have my phone. So she takes an iPad and she opens up one of the like menus, and it's just an app where they can input all the medical information. So she clicks through, she inputs like my name and stuff from the sheet that I just filled out. Like she could have just had me do this. And then it gets to a page where it says scan the ID. And if has anyone here ever like deposited a check or like submitted a barcode for a prescription?
You just like take a photo of the card with the camera.
Yeah,
Correct.
right? Like it's
Basically.
very, very easy. You just take you line it up and it takes the picture for you when it's angled properly.
Yeah.
Like it's super, super easy. This bitch has the iPad on the table, right? And it opens up that screen and it says like scan it. And she takes the iPad, it's sideways, but like she takes it and she puts my ID on top of it.
On the screen, for those who are listening.
And lines it up like very, very carefully, like two hands getting it perfect. It hits the take picture button.
Oh, God damn.
Picks up my ID, flips it over, and realigns it, and hits the take picture button again.
How do you not realize where the...
And then it says, does this picture look good? And it's black because it was on the table. And she starts getting really annoyed at like, ugh. Don't you hate it when technology doesn't work? And calls over like the younger guy who's in like his 20s and is like, does the iPad ever just get a black screen? And I am trying so hard not to yell. Cherry asked me how old she was. At least 40. I wouldn't say more than 60.
Not old enough where she doesn't know how an iPad works when you use it every day as part of your job.
Yeah.
This is her job.
Yeah.
This is her job, and
like this isn't like you know,
at a medical institution that is rated one of the best in the United States.
Like this isn't like your grandmother got a new iPad and is like doesn't know how it works. This is someone whose professional job, as part of this, is to intake patients, and part of that job is to take photographs and copy information from licenses and stuff like that doesn't know how this
Yeah.
works.
So
How many times has she used this thing?
exactly. It amazed me. She thought we were in like a spy movie or something, and she could just like put it there and it would scan it and take a picture.
She obviously uses this thing a lot because she went through the menus no problem.
Yeah.
So-
to be fair, the menus are a big green continue button.
Yeah.
So
but
let's
you'd
not
be
give her too much credit.
You would be surprised the number of people who would still screw that up
I am not. I have seen.
if they're not
I've
okay
stared
with
into the face
technology
of the
or have
devil and
used it a
laughed.
lot. So it's like, oh, this lady's just. When Comfy first was telling this story, when I first heard it, I was like, oh my god.
That's
No, and
terrible.
then so I get there at 10 a.m. My appointment's at noon, and I fill out all the stuff, and we're done at like 10:15. And then she gives me these 3 bottles of like a drink, and it's like, all right, you need to drink all 3 of these before noon. This one at 10:30, this one at 11, this one at 11:30. You know, normal stuff because for
For this type of procedure, I've had them done too. You have to drink so
Yeah.
much fucking liquid.
Yeah, I've never had to do it, but I know what it's like.
luckily this liquid actually didn't taste bad. It was all right.
Yeah.
I also hate
So
the small metal tube ones they stick you in.
ooh yeah,
I've
not
been in
great.
both. The small tube sucks because this procedure takes a while, so you're in a
Yeah.
small tube for a really long while, and you can't do anything. There's nothing to look at. You can't go to sleep.
Yeah, I literally just like shut my eyes and they played music very, very, very quietly over it.
Yeah,
And
it
by
was-
very quietly, I mean it was blasting, but I also had earplugs in.
Yeah.
So
the
Oh,
better one. There was a
so
better.
I had to
version of this
drink all the
machine.
liquid, right? I drank 2 of them and just had like 10 minutes left before I was supposed to start the other one, and I'm literally just like following the exact list that they told me to do. And she walks up to me and is like, "How much of this one have you done so far?" I was like, "I haven't started it." And she just looks at me, she's like, "Why not?" And I just looked at the bottle, which clearly says 11:30 a.m. on it. And I look at my phone, which clearly says 11:20 a.m. on it, and I show her. And then she says, "Make sure that it's done in time," and then walks away.
Jesus
And
Christ.
I, at this point, could not be bothered.
Wow. Like you had to
Like-
finish it in 10 minutes?
40.
I wasn't supposed
Oh.
to start it for another 10 minutes.
Yeah, he wasn't supposed to start drinking it for another 10 minutes. He had 40 minutes to drink a bottle of liquid. It's
Got
like,
it.
she's like,
It's
"Why
not a
didn't you start?"
hard
It's like,
bottle of
"It's-"
liquid to drink, honestly.
Yeah. And the
Like-
reason they time it out is so that there's enough in your system
Right.
by the time they're doing the procedure. So if you drink it
Yeah,
too soon, it leaves your system properly.
exactly.
So that's why it's timed directly. So you can't start 10 minutes early. You can't start 15 minutes early. You have to start exactly when you're supposed to drink this stuff because
I'm
it has to have
literally
time to
just
work.
doing it as they told me to do it.
Like it has a life, like a shelf life in your body, right? So if you
Right.
drink it too soon, it might not function all the way through the procedure, and then they have to do the whole thing over. So, which this woman should know because it's her job.
She was such an infuriating person to like even like think about. It was like, why are you like this? Why are you as a human being like why?
That's a
Just
question.
why are you the way that you
Is
are?
that like copper?
Yes, but I get
We
that
have a lot
question.
of questions about copper, but I don't think we're ever getting answers for those.
That's
oh,
true.
My
Probably
Lord.
not.
Yeah, so me and Comfy have had weeks. Like that's part of the reason why the girlfriend's concerned about your health. The other one was the
Yeah.
iron thing you were getting
Mhm.
done. So
Yeah, I'm just low on iron.
Yeah.
But I am being upgraded to an Iron Man, so that's good. I did have cool stuff happen this week, though. It wasn't all shitty.
What was cool?
yes, that's true. You went to that thingamabob.
Yeah, well, I did that last week, but now I can talk about it. Ah,
Yes.
I did the Outriders event thing, which was super cool.
That's cool. Very nice.
And it's funny because I was talking to people about it afterwards. Every single person that played the game thinks that it's amazing, and everybody that watched it online has the same reaction, which is, I think I need to see a little bit more before I understand what's going on.
Yeah.
Yes, there's
Like,
that.
I
I've seen someone go through the character creator as well. There's video footage of that out for the options.
Ah, okay.
See, I was told very clearly not to touch the character creator.
That's why, because it's probably an exclusive to certain people.
That makes sense.
Because I've only seen it on one channel, so it was probably an exclusive thing they've given to this guy.
That would make
um,
sense.
one thing I have seen from a few people though who've had hands-on with it is that it reminds them a lot of Remnant in that it didn't look super impressive when you look at when you just watched a bit of footage of it, but playing it felt so good to play.
Good, cool.
It felt very, very good to play.
I know
They're
it's
super waiting for it to come out.
I know it's a Schluter, so that makes me obviously want to try it because it's my favorite fucking genre.
Yeah.
So, I think for sure probably give it a whirl.
I think like Paul Tassi said it best. It's like this is not a game that's aiming for to be Destiny.
No.
This game will be like Diablo or Anthem.
Yeah.
And it turns of its gameplay loop and stuff.
You don't. Well, I hope it's better than Anthem.
Yeah. Do not tell people it'll be like Anthem. That's a terrible decision. Nobody will play it.
You
conceptually, not like gameplay.
Try to beat Destiny, right? Like Remnant wasn't trying to beat anybody, but everybody who's played that game
likes it,
loves it.
It's a great game. That
game is amazing. It's a super fun feeling game to play. And the stuff, how you can spec your character at that is really interesting in the game, and it's probably my favorite game in that type of Souls-esque type of way. It's not as hard as the Dark Souls
one.
But partially that's because it's range combat for the most part. So
it's a gameplay style that you're familiar with.
Yeah. So
as opposed to the Dark Souls is different.
Yeah, Dark Souls is different. And I kind of prefer Remnants. How they got stuff going and how multiplayer works, and it is so much better than what you got from Dark Souls or something like Code Vein, where it's
the multiplayer in Remnant was very good.
Yes,
the multiplayer in Code Vein has been an issue for me.
Yeah, it's in all of the Soulsborne games.
That's because typically multiplayer in Soulsborne games is not great, and I think Remnant is one of the examples where they kind of stepped out and said, people like playing these things together, like playing other games together, so we should probably make it so that our multiplayer works
right
in a way that people expect it to, right? And not just the cop-out way that you have people doing with Soulsborne games now, because back when Demon Souls and Dark Souls first came out, like the originals, that wasn't a concern for those games because they were stylized as single player games. But then the community was like, hey, I'd love your game, but I want to play with my buddy. Right? And so they kind of tacked something on in the same way that you have a lot of games that are PvE games tack on, a crappy PvP format.
Yeah.
That's kind of how they tacked on multiplayer in those games. They've never bothered to change it. And so,
yep.
But it's from the footage I saw, this one seems to have Outriders seems to have actual functional multiplayer.
No, yeah, that seems like a normal multiplayer you'd expect.
And there was voting mechanics, so whenever we wanted to go somewhere or do something, we could vote on it faster.
That's a neat touch. I like that.
We could vote on which mission we were choosing.
Cool.
Yeah, because that way it's not just I'm the host, so I get to pick. It's what does the group want to do, right? Which is nice.
And there was world tiers, so when you leveled up, you actually got to play all the side quests and stuff at your level regardless. So everything was scaling properly, and it didn't feel bad, and you could also scale it down if you wanted to.
Very cool.
So I'm excited for it. It was really, really fun to play.
Was that the first time you got to go to a early capture session of a game? Or have you got to do other stuff like that before? Okay. Very cool.
It was awesome.
Yeah, sounds good. Sounds cool.
Ad.
Huh?
I said ad.
All right.
Oh, hashtag ad.
Should we actually talk about the anime award? Oh,
right.
Also in other games news really quick, Anthem is getting 2.0, Division 2 is getting 2.0,
I'm excited.
And Borderlands 3 got 1.5.
I think we'll end this episode with the anime awards. So yeah, game news wise,
if we just get this out of the way, then we can go hard. So
we had the official announcement from Anthem that they are officially doing a rework of the game. I kind of hope they pull Final Fantasy 14 and breathe new life into it, because the core of the game is really good. Like
It's
the
fun.
movement and
The
the combat of
combat's
the game
fun.
is great. Like that movement system, that combat is awesome. But they need more weapons. That's an easy fix. It's just making more. It was the loop though that really needs to work in the game.
There wasn't a
So,
loop. It was a
There
horseshoe.
was, it wasn't a great.
Yeah.
It was a very, very thin, very boring loop. They need more content, more to do, a better feedback loop for gameplay. If they can fix that problem, then I think they're golden. And the great thing is, they don't need to rework combat. They don't need to rework movement in this
No.
game. They don't need to rework the visuals. All that's perfect. All that's great, right? For what they're going for. They
Yeah,
need to
but I mean,
spend this
you could
time
you could
making content and fixing the gameplay loop.
I don't have faith in it. I'm just gonna say I don't think it'll.
I'm just saying, I
hope I'm
gonna
wrong,
wait and
but I'm
reserve
not
judgment,
holding my breath at all.
But because they've got a base that they don't have to fix,
Yeah.
like in terms of mechanics wise, and they just can work on the loop of the gameplay itself,
Mhm.
that makes things a lot easier to fix the game. Kind of how that's why I said if they can pull a Final Fantasy 14, right?
Yeah, that'd be great.
Final Fantasy 14, when they first came out with that, it looked great. The combat was where people wanted to be and stuff like that. It's just the gameplay loop wasn't there, so they went back to drawing board, reworked the game, and now people love it.
They basically
Right,
like
so-
destroyed the world and started
Lit-
over.
literally destroyed the world in
That's
the story.
how that's how the lore was. They're like, well, this world is literally destroyed, so now it's a realm
Now we
reborn.
have this
That's
new
the
world.
that's
Yeah,
the Final
that's-
Fantasy 14 MMO.
Yeah,
and
they
it's
literally
fun.
worked it into the lore, which is
Yeah.
hilarious.
And now
So if they can
14's
do
one of
that,
the best.
you know, I'm willing to give them another shot. I kind of hope they either go like they have to do something about the price point of the game for the relaunch. So I hope they figure that out as well. But it's kind of wait and see. I have the best hopes for them. I hope they do fix it because I really do love the combat and the movement in that game.
I'm with you.
and
I just don't.
I'd like it to see it go somewhere.
It wasn't an unfun game.
The other couple things we had the really, really long, because it was probably like an hour and a half of information from the Division 2. So we have a new, an actual large expansion coming out to kick off the new expansion season, new season of Division 2.
I'm excited. I love the
Um,
division. I wish it would have done a
also
little bit better.
Information on the last final drop from the season pass, which put out a new class as well in the game, which I've been loving because it's a flamethrower and I like letting people on fire.
Mhm.
Don't ask questions. So new stuff coming out. We're going back to New York. We're going to be going after the villain from Division 1, which is awesome.
Aaron Keener.
There
That
is the system and how we're doing this reminds me a lot of Wildlands, whereas we're tackling smaller people in his organization first to get information on him so we can track him down, which is cool. I like that from Wildlands. I like Wildlands. It's a fun game. The other interesting thing is as we take these people out, we're actually going to get new skills that we can use on our characters, like new tools and stuff like that, which is cool. Like that's a nice little thing. Because these people used to be division agents, they have technology that our character doesn't.
Shade tech.
So we're going to take their shade tech when we kill them, which is awesome, right? That's a neat
Pretty
little
cool.
lore touch and a mechanics touch. So we're going to be going to Lower Manhattan. So the whole thing is, they've done in scale again, which is awesome. All the zones are different. The whole place is different because it's no longer winter. We've got, beefed up factions to deal with, things like that. They're reworking endgame. They're reworking how the skill stuff works. They're reworking how gear's working. They're increasing the level cap. They're adding all this other stuff in. So
They're increasing the level cap? I didn't know that.
Yep.
To what?
Level cap is going up by
10 levels.
What was it before? Was it 20? No.
30.
30.
30?
30.
Okay,
So,
so now it's
that goes
gonna
up
go
to
to
40, which
Okay.
means if you've been playing or if you've lapsed, because I picked the game up again recently and gone through stuff.
My
it's
goal
really-
for
it's
picking
still
it
really
up is
fun.
I just want to level up the
Um,
classes again.
The fact that they're reworking how endgame works is where people had the problem, and adding stuff to that, and they are adding quite a bit to that for replayability, has me excited. They're also changing how the world level works. and how characters work in terms of gear score and progression after you hit max level. So currently, you hit level 30, then you start going through gear score, you hit max gear score, and you're kind of done unless you want to work on various builds.
Right.
Now, when you get a character to max level, you don't have a gear score, but you do get better gear and stuff like that still. Like, that's still a progression thing. But in addition to that, they've added a kind of an infinite progression loop.
Kind of, I like that. I really do like that.
You know, like you've got with similar in Borderlands with, you know, your system there, you get these incremental growth in certain things and you get to choose. It's like you can start putting up your damage, you can start putting up your reload, you can start putting up your finding material stuff and things like that, and getting all these bonuses for your character as you keep working on that character, which is great, right? It gives you something to grind with and gives you, rewards for keep playing and things like that. They've changed the world levels in terms of we're not doing like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which were super fast to go through before, especially if you had a buddy helping you out. Like I was playing with Comfy this past week, and we took Comfy up from, what was it, 24?
I was level 24 when we started, and we ended at World Tier 2, ready to tackle the next one to get to World Tier 3. And the only reason we didn't was because we ended up going back for Nelstar, who was level 28, and we got him to World Tier 2, ready to tackle for World Tier 3.
Nice.
Like, and we did that in like a couple hours. Like, so the World Tier
3 hours, I think, to get him from where he was to where he got.
Yeah, so the world tiers right now, they don't take very long to go through. So what they're doing is they're setting it. They're making it so that you can set the difficulty of the world, and that's a blanket effect for everything, which includes turning it up to legendary, which is the highest difficulty. So you can have everything, including like random enemies out in the wild, and everything's legendary now. In addition, there's going to be these modifiers you can turn on, which also increase the difficulty by things like there's no auto regen. So if you need to heal, you actually have to use an ability to heal yourself, or a med pack.
Oh.
And that increases, and because that modifier is on, you're also going to get a bump in XP for every one of these modifiers you have on. So the higher difficulty tier you set it to, the more XP you earn.
Probably
the
better
more
loot.
these modifiers you turn on, the more XP you earn. So you can stick everything to legendary, turn all these modifiers on. The game will be super difficult and hard.
Cool.
But you'll get a big XP bonus for it. So there's a risk reward type thing, right? So they're reworking how the Dark Zone works as well, which is great because right now it doesn't really function. So they're doing all this stuff that people have been asking for, and apparently they've been working on it, and we're gonna see how it goes. Because I'm interested in that. I think the other, I won't call it big though, it did have a good bit of a hit on things like Twitch. Wolfson came out. Those who are like, what the fuck is that? Wolfson is the unfortunate name for new ARPG. The agreement is
name.
The agreement in the community is that the name's not great, but the game, however, is fucking awesome. So it's a Diablo style game.
Have you been playing it, or?
I have been playing it.
Okay.
I picked it up the day it came out.
Cool.
The servers have got slammed because they got way more attention than they thought they were going to get.
Yeah.
And it is a small independent team from France. So they've been constantly working, trying to get the servers up and running properly.
Now it's in
you can play in offline mode anyways. So
it is in the Warhammer universe. No?
Wilson? No.
Oh, okay. I think I heard somebody make a joke about it being Warhammer, and I wasn't sure if it was.
There's a faction in the game who've got like who have like the big shoulders and stuff like that.
Okay.
But that's not how everybody looks. It's not like
I understand
that type of thing.
So that was actually a joke. I wasn't sure if it was a joke or not.
Yeah.
So
so without going into the story now, I'll just go into mechanics because kind of where the community cares about for ARPGs.
Oh yeah, 100%.
So it functions perfectly fine with mouse and keyboard. They are going to be adding direct controller support as well.
Cool.
ARPGs are one of the few games I can play on mouse and keyboard because the way my hands work.
You just click.
So yeah, because you're just clicking. It's not fast twitch movement, stuff like that, which I can't do on a keyboard. But the interesting thing with this is that there are 3, and I don't really want to say classes, but 3 archetypes. So you have your warrior, your mage, and your rogue. or your basic archetypes in the game. The thing is, you select when you're making a character that basically just starts with your starter equipment. That's all it matters for. And your abilities depend on what weapons you have equipped to you. So if you have melee weapons only equipped, you can only use warrior abilities. If you have rogue weapons only equipped, you can only use rogue abilities. If you have mage weapons only equipped, you have to use mage abilities. But you can also mix and match if you're not using a two-handed item. So if you have, say, a sword in one hand and a one-handed mage item in the other, or one-handed rogue item in the other, you can use, mage and rogue together, or warrior and mage together as well.
Interesting.
So that'll let you pick which, abilities you have bound to your 1 to 4 keys, as well as your right click. And there's a huge list of abilities that you can buy from a vendor whose stock refreshes every 15 minutes, or they'll also drop from enemies and bosses in the world, which is very interesting. So it's not like a set progression of, I have this, so I'm going to get this thing next. It's more of, what do you want, and what can you buy, and what can you find, right? Which is very interesting. On top of that, it has a massive skill tree for passive skills, which do things like, increasing your critical hit chance by 60%, life leech, adding, damage, like all these different bonuses. And it's set up in these 3 concentric rings where you can turn the rings, which alters how all the pathways connect together. So you can go through, you can start on, say, a mage section from the middle where you start, and then twist the second ring so it goes into a rogue section, and then twist the outer ring so it goes into, say, a warrior section if you wanted to, right? And you can just branch off in different directions of that. So there's a lot of customization for how your character works. There's all the different item levels for things, and then they've actually started the game with an end game, which is surprising for a lot of ARPGs because they kind of miss out on that.
The end game's at the beginning.
Well, I mean, they've launched the game with an end game in place, which is something you don't see from a lot of ARPG games, at least not a proper one. So you have the story acts you go through, and then once you do that, you can start doing what are basically maps or dungeon runs that you'd have from Diablo or Path of Exile.
Mm-hmm.
So you can get better loot, and in addition, they've added a system where you have a home base in this city that's been ruined through what the events in the story, and you can start rebuilding the city, taking resources and stuff you get from doing maps and things like that, and rebuilding stuff to get bonuses such as more money or things like that as you build the city back up.
Got it.
Which is an interesting touch. Very fun game. It is multiplayer as well, as long as the servers are working properly. So it's super fun. It's not very expensive either. It's like $40, I think. So
cool.
Not very expensive. Also $40.
$40 isn't a lot in terms of video games.
In video game term, it's like
it's
not. Remember, I'm also doing things in Canada, right? So $40 Canadian is less than American for those listening.
But it is $40 US.
Probably is it 40 US? So I did look.
According to my brother who purchased the game, yes.
Okay. But $40 isn't your $70 or $60 game. It is a price reduction, which is great.
Right. For sure.
And considering I've purchased 5 video games this week, it's not that bad.
Oh, good Lord.
Jesus, Copper.
Well, I bought that one.
Coping mechanism.
I picked up the Division DLC. I picked up this, and then I picked up a few Switch games as well because I'm not home. I'm not home for 9 days, right? So
might as well have the Switch games.
I need something to do while I'm there because I am puppy sitting.
Gotcha.
So it's not like I can sit at a computer there because I can't with my parents' computer and that. So they don't have game systems, so I took my Switch over there and I got a few games to go along with it.
Cool. All right. So
would we like to
get into this weeb shit?
Do we have intro music or something?
We don't. I have a list of all the winners, and I have a list of all the nominees and categories.
Cool.
So we can go through these. For those wondering, you're going to be discussing the Crunchyroll anime awards in terms of who was voted for nomination for different categories, what the categories are, and who the winners were in terms of them and who everybody had voted, and our thoughts on these.
Sounds good.
Because we're not going to agree on all these, I assure you.
Absolutely not.
Looking at the winners, I know in particular there's one that there's two of these I super disagree with.
He's mad that JoJo's won 2 awards.
That's not actually one of them.
Damn it.
So I'll tell you the ones that I don't
know
like
any of these
when we get to them. I was also very surprised at some of the ones who won. So let's just jump into these. So there are a variety of categories to go through. So we'll start not with the anime of the year. We're going to start with
Anime of the year should be the last one we do.
Yes, it is. And
I agree.
Crunchyroll does have like a recap up for those who didn't watch the whole award show. You just watch that. It's like 5 minutes long, and it's the last one they give out because, of course, why wouldn't it be?
Right.
So we're going to start with where they start, which is the best animation. So for the awards, for the ones that were up for nominee, we had Demon Slayer. We had Attack on Titans for season 3. We had Mob Psycho 100 season 2. We had Vinland Saga. We had Fate Grand Order Absolute Demonic Front Babylonia.
Man,
why is that name so long? And was it Sarazami, which is a show we actually covered. That is the Kappa show. If everybody remembers that,
yeah.
We were like, "What the fuck is this?"
Yep.
But it, in their defense, it did have really nice animation, which is something we had mentioned.
Yeah.
So I'm not super surprised it's up here. There's not a one on these for this category for animation that I'm not okay with. Like Demon Slayer, great animation. Attack on Titan, even though I don't like the show, great animation.
Yeah.
Mob Psycho 100, very stylized show, but again, it's from the same guy who made One Punch Man, so not surprising. Super great animation. The Fate series, again, I'm not a fan of the Fate series, but they're beautiful. I will give them that. Vinland Saga, which is a series we followed all the way through.
Yep.
Awesome show, amazing animation. Again, not surprised. And even the Kappa show, where we didn't like the show, we thought it was weird as shit.
Yeah.
But
super weird.
It was well animated. Like
good.
It's a great looking show.
They
it's
made
just
the
weird
shit look beautiful.
So out of these, what would have been? And I know that Dale, for example, may have not seen Fate.
I didn't. We watched, what was it, Phase Zero, and I just
yes,
really
but you've seen a Fate show.
Yeah.
The animation style doesn't change for them.
Got it.
So was there one of these that you would have been pulling for personally, Dale, out of all of them, like that you would have liked the most?
For
animation wise,
I guess honestly, Demon Slayer. It looks the best. I like Vinland, but there was a lot of points in Vinland Saga that I was like, eh. Like there was a couple parts where I was like, that didn't look great. Granted, I'm not a stickler
for any animation.
Animation.
Not like me and Comfy.
Yeah, I don't really care that much unless something looks ugly as shit. I don't give a shit.
I don't disagree with you for Vinland Saga. It's also got that gray thing to it. There's a ton of stuff in Vinland Saga where there's a lot of browns and grays. It makes sense in terms of what the show is,
right?
And the time period it's set in and stuff like that, and just the environments. But it is a lot of that. Out of these, I also probably would have picked Demon Slayer for the animation, because the animation is something we've gushed about before, me and Comfy, about how beautiful the animation is in that show, how well it's done, the saturation of all colors, which it's from earlier on, is something that I like. Surprisingly, it didn't win. This is one of the categories that surprised me. It's not a category I disagree with the winner, but I'm surprised it didn't actually win because of all the hype and buzz that Demon Slayer has had throughout the last year. It's like there was a lot of it. So I was kind of surprised that wasn't one of the ones that was where it won. Instead, the winner for this one was actually Mob Psycho. I don't. Yeah,
okay. I didn't.
Um,
I haven't seen
you
any animation.
you
for
haven't
Mob
seen
Psycho.
Mob Psycho, I don't think. No, it's not one of the ones we've covered.
I think that's the one your girlfriend keeps saying is her favorite.
Yes, Mob Psycho 100 is my girlfriend's favorite anime. It's a very interesting story. The characters are very interesting. The animation, as I said, is very stylized.
Right.
It's a lot more similar to the source material than what you get with One Punch Man. Where in One Punch Man they pull in some of the appearances, especially when Saitama is like doing his like okay face, as you've seen like the meme and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, yeah.
That's more reminiscent of the actual webcomic he originally produced. The overall art style of Mob Psycho throughout the show is more reminiscent of the original art style, just cleaned up and made better. So it's when I kind of went like okay, great, but it's it's not a super surprising one. Kind of wish Comfy hadn't dipped for a second there, but he'll be back in a minute because I'm kind of curious about what he's gonna think about this one. I swear, it's every time we were taping something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I that's the thing, Jerry. As one of our viewers had just posted in one of our chats, I'm not upset that it won, but it surprised me that it did because of Demon Slayer being in the same category for it. I already banned one of them. I don't know if Seth's banned the other one.
No, I just timed them both out. Like I just
I banned one. I straight up banned one of them. I just time out if they care to return to fucking be terrible trolls again, then they get banned. I don't even care. Oh no, it was the one who kept posting the one thing, so I just banned him.
Fine, whatever. I don't care. I never have to ban anyone. Almost never until I start getting into the web show when we record the podcast every week. Somebody's like, "You're fucking bald." No shit, I'm aware. Every fucking week, just about.
He shaves his head.
Yes. You know what?
For those who aren't aware, Dale's not like Dale shaves his head. It's not that he doesn't grow hair; he shaves it.
Yes. Although there was one time a couple weeks ago now, it was probably more like a couple months, but I was hanging out and I was streaming a video game and there was a blueberry hanging out. We were talking, and then eventually he was like, "Hey, no offense, but how are you? But why are you bald?" And I was like, "'Cause of a razor." He's just like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah, it's people for some reason assume whenever they see a guy who's bald, they're like, "Oh, he must be balding." No, some people just shave their head because one, they like the look of it better, or it feels better, or they do something, or they're an active swimmer. There are people who look better shaved. Dale is one of them. I think, for example, like Broman, Professor Broman, would seem strange if he grew hair.
Yeah,
like it'd be such a weird thing on him.
I'm gonna
it'd be the same thing for Dale. Like it would be weird to see Dale with hair again.
Yeah.
So
I'm gonna grow out dreadlocks.
But yeah, Cherry, to address your thing there, I'm happy. It's the weird thing is, for those who don't know, the Crunchyroll Anime Awards, Cherry, one of our viewers, mentioned that it's not just a popularity contest. The weird thing is it is an open voting contest. Like people vote on what they want to see win. And that's why a couple of these categories surprised me on the actual winner, because it is an open poll, and the things that typically tend to be more popular or more talked about do tend to win. So a few of these were very surprising in that regard. But yes, and there are judges who vote, and the judges voting does get, a good bit of weight. But that's not always enough to tip the balance.
Right.
Which we'll probably see for a few of these.
I'll give you a tip.
I'm super happy Mob Psycho won. I am actually probably going to push for us to cover that show.
No, we should do that eventually. I think what we should do is like whatever wins anime of the year, unless we've already covered it, we should cover it.
Yes, I'll agree with that without spoiling the fact because I know you and company haven't looked.
Yep.
Chat, don't tell them as well. There are a few animes on here for winners for various categories that we have covered.
Uh-huh.
There's other ones we have not touched at all.
Right.
And I think the ones we haven't touched, we should probably look at to see, a little more in-depth view of these. And then Mob Psycho is one of those for sure, especially since Dale loves the other anime by the same creator.
Yeah.
While we're waiting for Comfy, we'll move on to the next one. We'll just circle back for Comfy when he gets back. So,
Sorry about
next
that.
up.
There he
never
is.
mind. As I was about to circle the next one. So, the one we started with Comfy was Best Animation.
Yes.
And our nominees were Demon Slayer, Attack on Titan, Mob Psycho 100, Sarazanami, which is the Kappa show we had watched.
Yep.
Vinland Saga,
definitely remember.
and Fate Grand Order. So,
So,
what would be your guess about what won?
Demon Slayer.
It didn't win.
Wow. I also
know, right?
believe that. Because I want to say that Fate Grand Order and Attack on Titan had some extremely excellent animation.
Yep, neither of them won either.
Yeah. Was it Sarazanmai?
Nope. You're literally running out of guesses here.
I know. This is making me mad.
It was JoJo's Bizarre Adventure.
The real winner was JoJo's Bizarre Adventure all along.
So the winner of this category for Best Animation is actually a show we haven't covered, which is Mob Psycho.
Of course it is.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a big fan of Mob Psycho 100.
Really? I like that show quite a bit.
I really tried to like it, but it's not a me thing.
It's a very stylized show, so it's not everybody's cup of tea for sure, especially if you're going in from the creator's other work. So I think that's going to be a show we're going to cover, and we're going to get Dale's reaction for sure on that one because he is a big fan of the other work. But because we've discussed this while you were gone, we're just going to move on to the next one. There's not a lot more we can say about that. So, best opening sequence.
Okay.
Just let me scroll down here.
Which I will again state one of my least favorite points of anime. The intros are always just like, please stop. I just want to get to the show.
Now Dale is just lying to everybody because there are intros that are just absolutely bumping, and you can't change my mind.
Yes, I
it doesn't
understand Dale's problem. So Dale's issue
get
is
to
that
the fucking show. All right. Also, that's one point. Another point is if I just watch somebody's fucking entire family get murdered, and then all of a sudden it goes into like super uppity fucking K-pop, I'm like, what the fuck just happened? And I hate this. Please stop.
Are you saying that you hated the Vinland Saga opening?
No, I didn't. That was one of my least hated openings. I still feel like I would rather just not have an opening. But hey, that's me for every show ever. So don't kind of think that's an anime thing. My favorite intros were like season 1 of Jack Ryan, where it was like, here's the title, and then that was like 5 seconds. Great intro to a show. Like
Dale
we know
is
what we're
a favorite
watching.
of short and sweet,
Intro,
or things that match the tonal of the show itself.
No. My favorite thing is short and sweet, but then when they also are long and then don't fucking match and are just obnoxious,
That's what I mean.
I don't
short
care.
and sweet that match the tone. Those are things you like.
There you go.
Unfortunately, a lot of anime openings are about 2 to 2.5 minutes long.
Yep.
And
they are always 1 minute and 30 seconds. I guarantee it.
Well, they're 1 minute and 30 seconds to 2.5. There are anime openings that are longer.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why they're longer. It annoys me when they're longer because I have to click farther into a show.
I promise you that every single show that we have covered since the dawn of this series,
most of them are. So our nominees for best opening sequence was Carol and Tuesday, The Promised Neverland, Mob Psycho 100, Domestic Girlfriend,
yes,
Fire Force, and Vinland Saga. So, a couple things. We have watched a few of these, and we know about a few of the others.
Carol and Tuesday was on a lot of lists for this award.
The least talked about show for us that's on this list, and a few others as you just mentioned, is Carol and Tuesday. It is not a show we have looked at. It is not a show we have talked about. It is not a show that I know it's gotten buzz, but it's not a show I've paid attention to at all.
I absolutely did not at all.
Yeah. Some of the other shows here, like Fire Force, we've looked at that. Vinland Saga, of course, we followed all the way through. Promised Neverland is a show we've looked at twice, and is also a very interesting show. Domestic Girlfriend has gotten a lot of buzz because of its subject matter, and something we have discussed.
Domestic Girlfriend is a goddamn treasure. All right.
Is it though? Is it? But is it
It
one of
is.
those
Have you
things
even
where
watched
it's
a single episode of Domestic Girlfriend?
is it one of those things where it's everyone else's trash, but it's your treasure?
It's a perfect show.
I doubt
Dale,
it.
you would love it.
I
Do
doubt
you
it.
even know the plot?
Domestic Girlfriend
You've
is a
talked
trashy
to-
romance novel in anime form. That is Domestic Girlfriend in a nutshell.
Whoa! How dare you?
Yeah, that sounds not fun.
It does not qualify as a romance novel. Maybe
it's
a fan fiction.
It is a trashy romance novel written by a hack writer in anime form. It is both horrendously bad and really good at the same time. It is a very strange show in that regard. It is a guilty pleasure watch for a lot of people.
Wow, Copper, you described that show aggressively well because I believe 100% that it's a garbage show, but I enjoy every second that I watch of it. And I can't look away.
It is a guilty pleasure for a lot of people. Like, this should be fucking awful, and I can't stop watching it.
That's how Supernatural is for me, where it's like
it's one of those shows.
I have to know how it ends.
Where the show
Also, that's also how Fairy Tail is for me.
So
because that show is all filler. There is no plot in that show whatsoever. It is 100% filler.
Pretty much, yeah.
Mhm.
Out of these, I'm surprised. Like, I can't say anything about Carol and Tuesday because we haven't really seen it. Domestic Girlfriend's opening is Promised Neverland's opening is okay.
The one I'm surprised that isn't on there is Demon Slayer, simply because it was in almost every list, and that was a very popular opening as well.
Yeah, I'm surprised that's not there. And again,
no Lisa at all. Lisa did not make the list at all. Tragic.
For our winner for this category was actually again Mob Psycho 100.
I totally can. I 100% can see that. The Mob Psycho 100 intro was very stylized and fun, and that's basically.
And it fit the show really well. So
exactly, because they're not going for like. I would have voted for the opening. My first pick would have been Vinland Saga. My second pick would have been Promised Neverland because I thoroughly enjoyed the songs and the animation. But Mob Psycho, it stood out.
Okay.
And I think that's why it wins.
It really does. When we cover the show, you'll see what
unique.
we mean. It's very unique. It is very on point for the show. And it's very the opening and ending, especially the ending credits for Mob Psycho, are way the fuck over the top. But it also makes sense in terms of why it's so over the top. So I'm not surprised it won. I would say for me, it would have been a 50-50 split between this and Vinland Saga, the original Vinland Saga opening, for my favorite of these six. So again, super happy it's won. We're moving away from just solely the most popular stuff winning for show wise. So this is cool. Our next category was the best ending sequence. And for those wondering why there's not a lot of discussion on these, there's just not a lot to say about opening sequences. It's either you like it or you don't, right? So our best ending sequences, they came down to, again, Carol and Tuesday. Again, we really need to see about this show.
Yep, it's a Netflix one.
Yep. Love is War, which I know Comfy is a fan of, for the meme for that anime.
Is that the one?
Saga,
is that the one with the Chica dance?
It's the pink-haired girl doing the dance.
The Chica dance is actually. I want to point out specifically. They didn't. Their actual ending wasn't listed, but the Chica dance was.
Carol and Tuesday
which is
really
hilarious.
good. Okay.
Also, I don't like this show unironically. I think it's actually really fun and good.
Yeah, so we have that.
No, so I don't like the show ironically.
We again have Fire Force. And our last two slots being taken up by the Sarazanami show. So the Kappas again. And the ending sequence of that show I remember being really fucking strange. And our other one is a show that we again covered that I didn't like, was the Dororo show.
Dororo!
I liked Dororo.
We're still on the
Uh,
outros. I didn't watch it.
Yes, so this is the ending sequence, the outro. To no one's surprise, it is the Chica dance that won.
Yeah, Drake,
What,
we already
what do you
covered.
think we're watching right now on my stream?
Dale? No, of course we're not. We're watching the Chica dance. So yeah, I'm not surprised this won. It is a fan favorite. It has become a giant meme. So this winning was nobody's surprise. It would have been a shock if this category went to somebody else.
It really. Also, I want to point out that nobody ever puts any energy into the ending song of an anime. They always like they do the big opening, and then it's always like kind of calm down or like quiet or like low tier for the ending.
Yes, the endings tend to be low tier for a lot of shows, just because.
I dislike more endings than I like.
Well, the thing is, when a show ends, be it anime or not, you're not trying to hype anybody up anymore. So
Yeah.
that's kind of what it is. Like, there's no reason to make hype. Like, you're trying to build hype before that.
As much as I love the Chica dance, and I think that it's amazing, and clearly one of the reasons that freedom of speech should exist. I think that it mostly won because it stands out.
Yeah.
Because they put more effort into this than probably anybody else making an ending. And it shows because it was a unique ending. It doesn't even play every single time. It only plays once.
Yes.
So that's the one that won?
Yep.
Yeah, the
Okay.
Chica dance is the winner to, again,
Cool.
nobody's surprise. Our next category up was Best Boy.
What?
So,
Really?
Ooh-wee.
so we had a
Okay.
few
Okay.
No.
Robert,
Nominees
can you
here that-
send me this list by any chance?
the list of the categories. Yeah.
The nominees list, at least.
Wow, Drake.
yeah.
Comfy wins? How
Comfy
dare
wins.
you?
I win Best Boy. Thank you, Copper.
How fucking dare you?
So for our Best Boy nominees, we had Bruno from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. We had Hakamaru from Dotaro. We have Kanata from Astro Lost in Space. We had Mob from Mob Psycho. We had Tanjiro from Demon Slayer. And we had Naruto from How Heavy Are the Dumbbells You Lift? For those who remember that show, because we did look at it, that's the guy who looks like a little dweeb guy who actually has massive muscles who keeps breaking out of his clothes.
Has the
yes.
same exact head when he breaks out of his clothes.
Yes, and his head size doesn't change, but his body quadruples in size. It's weird.
Yeah, he gets very big.
Got it.
So there's a few people here. I don't know the Bruno guy because I don't follow JoJo's.
So basically, he is the mom character.
Okay. So Hakamaru from Dotaro is our main character. He's the guy who's missing his skin, all these organs and things like that when he was born. His dad sucks.
Yep.
Astro Lost in Space is another one we looked at. Kanata is the main character. He's the guy who's like super hype about things and used to be a track star and stuff like that.
I'm gonna be the captain. Well, now we don't want you to be the captain. Oh, well, you're clearly the
the
captain.
awards, Cherry?
We have Mob, of course, from Mob Psycho, main character again. And then we have Tanjiro from the main character as well from Demon Slayer. Best mom and best boy.
Best. Listen, he is the mom character. There's like a meme about like best moms in JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, and he's on there, and then Giorno's mom is crossed out because she kind of sucks.
Was Best Mom the mom from Multi-Hit Attacks?
So, no, thankfully they didn't have a category for that. She wouldn't win.
Are you sure about that?
I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
Pretty sure she'd be going to jail.
I mean, he's an adult.
So they are actually blood relatives. So
It's not illegal.
These six,
just frowned upon.
Yes, it is. It is very actually illegal.
By
Is it?
definition, it is illegal.
I didn't realize it was
Incest
illegal.
is actually illegal.
Really?
It's
I just
actually
thought
a
it was
crime.
kind of
I
like.
thought you lived in the north, not the
I didn't
south.
think you were that deep in the south.
I
Dale.
didn't realize it was illegal. I thought it was frowned
Yes,
upon.
it is
Okay.
actually a crime, like necrophilia, for example, or
That's
bestiality.
not
It's also a
related. I
no-no.
mean, that's not even close to
Welcome
comparable,
to 2.5
though.
Weebs,
Okay.
episode
All right.
50 whatever, titled "That's Actually a Crime."
You heard it here. Dale doesn't think incest is a no crime.
I didn't think it was illegal. That's
Okay.
I'm not like
All right,
you
we're
shouldn't.
not poking that with a 10-foot pole. We're not explaining this. We're not delving deep into why Dale thought this was
And
okay.
so, who is?
I never
our
said I
best
thought it was
boy?
okay. I just didn't know it was a crime. Okay.
Just, I swear, officer, I didn't know it was a crime.
It's usually not a legal defense. So
Oh
our
God.
best boy here, again, to no
Oh,
surprise, was
God.
Tanjiro from Demon Slayer.
Yep, that's.
Out of this
Uh,
list,
I probably honestly would have given it to Mob or Machi.
I would have given this to Mob. Out of these characters, I like Mob the most.
Oh no.
I mean, I would have been happy if Bruno won, of
Oh.
course.
I know you would have been. I'm happy that the guy that the guy from Dotaro didn't win Hakamaru because I don't like him. He's
Yeah.
such a boring little shit.
He doesn't
Because
really have.
He can't
whole
do
lot.
like.
Yeah.
We watched the first 3 episodes of the show, and he does stuff in him, but there's no real characterization to him because he can't see, he can't talk, he can't hear. Like, he's just kind of a meat puppet that's kind of there. So stuff happens around him in response to stuff he does, but there's no characterization of him as a person. So I'm kind of surprised he was even nominated.
So who won? Who was the one?
So the winner, surprising no one, was Tanjiro from Demon Slayer.
Yep. Okay.
So this again,
Makes sense.
one of the categories were not super surprising.
No.
No, but hey,
on-
next we got Best Girl.
Best Girl, the more interesting category. So we had Carol from Carol and Tuesday. We had Chika from Love is War. We had Emma from The Promised Neverland. Kohaku from Dr. Stone. Nezuko from Demon Slayer. And Rafalia from Rising of the Shield Hero. So
It's
again, this is a category-
Raftalia. God.
Whatever.
I believe her proper title is actually Raccoon Bitch.
I was gonna say, raccoon slut, whatever.
Wow. Wow.
First girl
Listen,
slut, whichever you
when
prefer.
I upload the YouTube video, it'll all make sense, but I'm sure Dale doesn't actually remember what he said.
So again, this is a category where we know
What?
most of the characters. So to skip to the winner was Raftalia.
Yay.
Yeah.
Again,
It was her, Nezuko, or Chika. Like,
yes, yeah. Out of this thing, I couldn't have seen, like, I don't know enough about Carol and Tuesday to say how good of a character she is. I know for a fact I knew Emma wasn't going to win.
Emma's a very strong main character, but Best Girl isn't. That's not what
That's
Best
not
Girl.
the category. I was kind of surprised she was nominated for this because she's
Yeah.
more of a protagonist
Right.
than
Mhm.
a best girl for when you're looking
Yeah.
at anime. And I'm not surprised that Raftalia won because she ticks
Every
her
box.
character. Yeah, her
Every
character
single
was
box.
basically designed to tick the boxes for best girl. Like,
Yeah,
that's
she even has
literally what they
raccoon
did.
ears.
like she has animal ears and an animal tail and is super obsessed with the main character. Yeah, of course she won. Like that's like what were you expecting? So again, we're just kind of going through the slower categories to get to some meat to talk about. So our best score was up next. So for these, we had Attack on Titan, Carol and Tuesday, Demon Slayer, Dr. Stone, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, didn't win, and Rising of the Shield Hero.
Spoilers.
Why you gotta be like that? Huh? Why you just gotta throw it out there and just be like, oh yeah, by the way, you lose.
I'm just
Like,
making it clear.
hey everybody, I want everybody to know that it's all fine and dandy and we're all friends and
Comfy loses.
all right, thank you, and back to the show. Back to you, broadcast.
Now, of these, we've seen all of them except for Carol and Tuesday. I don't think Dale's
Carol
watched
and
Dr.
Tuesday
No,
Stone.
we didn't see Dr. Stone either.
And Carol and Tuesday is the one that won, so I can't
Yep.
really say much about the score here. But the one thing
In
I
the
will say is
picture,
that
in the picture one
Carol
of them
in-
has a guitar and one has a piano.
Is
so
it
I'm
Carol-
gonna
Carol
go-
Tuesday is a music anime, so I'm not surprised it won Best Score.
Is it Carol in Tuesday or Carol?
Carol and Tuesday.
Carol and
Yeah.
Tuesday. Okay. Is it the
So,
dynamic
again,
musical
it's a
duo?
It's a music anime. Like the focus is music.
It has to win. Like that's just
So
that's how it'd be.
it's a no-brainer. Like if it didn't win, it'd be really weird because the whole thing was focused on music, right? Like so, it's kind of.
I do want to say, regardless of how you feel about it, I could not name a single song from any of these shows except JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, and I know every single character's theme because it's all actually really.
Well, the thing with these
unique.
other shows is that the score for these shows is all background music for fights and things like that. So
JoJo's is very in your face with music.
and JoJo's is very in your face with music because it's kind of it's a lot of the character names and memes are built around music.
What half one of them was literally Aerosmith this season.
So
I know.
all these shows I would have expected either Carol and Tuesday to win or JoJo's. This is their category to win. And again, I'm not surprised they gave it
it's
to
Carol
a
and
show
Tuesday.
that is 100% about music rather than memeing on music. So
Exactly.
and not a surprise. And good for them. They've been up for a few awards here so far, so it's kind of nice to see them win. Next up, we had the best voiceover.
Not best director.
No, they went for best voiceover next, which I know is a pain in the ass because you actually scroll down the screen.
Because I have to scroll down a whole bunch.
It's at the bottom. There's two categories for this. There's best
Are we doing English or
by
Japanese
voice actor
first?
by English, and then another category for Japanese. So Japanese was up first. For these, we had people nominated for JoJo's Bizarre Adventure.
Bruno.
We had Babylon,
Magase
which
for
is
Babylon.
not even a show I know of.
I
so-
didn't hear about it at all. We
I haven't
have,
heard anything about the show. We had Promised Neverland.
which was the character playing the mom, Isabella.
Yeah, we had so there's
Rio
again. We had,
Sanmai, who was
had
one of the
Dr.
cop.
Yep, we had Dr. Stone, our main character, and we had Demon Slayer,
Shinobu.
Sayori. I'm kind of surprised she was
That's
nominated
that
here
was the
rather than one of
butterfly bitch,
other
right?
characters.
I think it's
Um,
because they chose characters that, while they might not be the main character, they have an interesting tone of voice or inflection on
Yes.
their voice. Because
so we
I can
have-
tell you, the Isabella, the mom, has like 3 different tones she goes for when she's talking to different people, whether it's the children, the nurse, or the demons.
Yeah, so we have a
And
few.
so she had to be very.
Like we have Bruno, who's more of a side character. We have one of the cops.
Bruno's very much like the main character.
We have a few antagonists from different shows. We have some side characters from different shows. We have a main character. So this is a good mix of people. Our winner here was actually JoJo's. So it went to Bruno.
You need to relax.
He's happy it won something.
No, I'm happy it won something because then Copper can't yell at me they got snubbed. And that
Unfortunately.
actually makes a lot of sense because they do a lot of weird stuff at points in time. There's literally body swapping at the end, so one character has to voice act as another character in their body. So
Of all these
each character has
shows,
to do that, so-
I think I would like the character I liked the most was Isabella of these shows.
I pretty much agree with you.
But I love her as a
She was-
character. She's such an interesting villain for
And-
that show.
She was voice acted so well too. Like
Yes.
that, which is why it's here. Obviously, I'm very happy JoJo's won, but if it didn't, Isabella would have been my literal next pick.
Yes. So
After that, it would have been Shinobu because I actually hate Dr. Stone. I hate it. I hate his character so much. He's so annoying.
our companion category is best performance by voice actor in English. Unfortunately, I can't talk about any of these voices because I don't watch anime in English at all.
I can
But
go through this one actually because
Our-
I checked some of this out.
I know our nominees were Aqua in Konosuba, Nafume in Rise of the Shield Hero, Toro in Fruits Baskets, which I don't like as an anime, Shingo in Mob Psycho, Shinji in Neon Genesis, which Why is it up there?
What?
I'll
What?
explain in a second.
That doesn't make
It's
sense.
got to be
It's
the
been out-
Netflix thing.
It's
And
been
the
out
other
for
one
like
is,
2 decades.
Retsuko in
Retsuko.
So
I
don't know who
have
watched that show in
actually
English for one.
seen. I have actually seen a majority of these.
I completely disagree
weird.
with Shinji being up there because it is such a fucking old anime.
It's been
I
out
don't
for
care that
20
was-
years. Like, I don't know how
that you don't
yeah,
care that it was redubbed.
This
but
is this. I do not care it was redubbed. I understand why they would want to redub it, but nominating him versus some of these other things, like some of these animes weren't weren't recent animes. Like Mob Psycho season 2, recent. Rising the Shield Hero, recent.
Mhm.
Fruit Baskets was redone, so this is the new one. So
Mhm.
again, recent.
Konosuba
Gretzko,
just got their dub, but the show is like 5 years old.
Gretzko had a new season out, so again, recent. The two I don't agree with. One of them I don't like is an anime. I think it's the worst anime ever made. That's Neon Genesis. So I don't agree with it being there because it is fucking like 20 years old. I also, even though I love it, do not agree with Konosuba being there because
mad.
it again is an older anime. Like
Okay.
there had to be better performances to choose.
The
that weren't
problem being,
old.
so the problem being, and
Is they're
this is
looking at
why I
recent
think that
releases.
Konosuba should be up there, but not. I'll talk about Evangelion in a bit. But so a lot of the times, a majority of the times, when a show comes out, they don't have the English dub to go with it.
Correct. And I know it's
So-
because they just got the English dubs done.
And so it's because they just got the English dubs done. So does it do the actors any? Does it do them any service to say that they don't qualify for an award because the show they're doing didn't premiere that season when they have no control over it?
I know it's unfair to the actors, but I also don't count it as a new anime.
Well, it's
And I-
you're not. Well, it's not about the anime. It's about.
I know it. I know it's not a new anime. I know it's about the voice actor, but
I'll be right back.
Mhm.
And the girlfriend says that Genesis is actually closer to 30 years old.
God damn.
So
That's very old.
I get it's a new dub. I just super disagree with them
No,
being up
I
there
think
when
it,
they're
no,
older
it shouldn't
shows.
fucking be on there. Like it's
There had to be other performances that were better
oh yeah, for sure.
um,
I'm sure.
that could have slotted into these places. Happy note, none of them fucking won, so I'm super glad about that. Our winner was actually for Nafume in Rising the Shield Hero.
Okay.
Again, I can't speak to the actual performances of how these sound because I don't watch anything in English. Because why would I? Yeah. So this is the first category where I disagree with shit.
Okay.
Because we have some things there. And I can see, I'm not the only one who disagrees there. I think that's going to be a sticking point for a lot of people. So next up, we had the best director. I'm moving forward, even though Company had to step away again.
Yeah, it happens.
Yes. So our best director, we had for nominees, we had Attack on Titan. We
Mhm.
had Babylon again. So again,
Babylon.
this,
I haven't. What's that shit about? Oh,
I don't know. I'm gonna look it up here in a sec. We had Carolyn Tuesday, Mob Psycho, Shirazami again. That thing was up for a lot of fucking rewards, considering how weird that show
I
was.
mean, you
And
can
Vinland
you can
Saga.
do weird shit really well.
You can. I didn't think it was that popular.
I guess.
Apparently, it was well done enough in enough places where people were interested by it. So let's take a look at this Babylon anime while we're waiting for Comfy to step back here and see what the fuck this is about. Bum, 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 bum.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so it looks like the Babylon one is based on a novel.
Uh-huh.
It doesn't even say short novel, it just says novel. That's interesting. That usually doesn't happen. It looks like it's a crime thriller novel. So we have main characters, a diligent public prosecutor. This is all to a case involving false advertisement. They end up investigating a pharmaceutical company, and things go sideways from there. in
Got it.
terms of like taking a very dark turn by looking at this synopsis.
Which
Okay.
which show was that?
That's the Babylon show.
Okay.
So, yeah. So that takes a very sideways slide turn for that show. So that sounds interesting. I'm surprised we haven't heard more of it really about the
What have I
Babylon
missed?
show. So we're looking at best directors.
Who won
so,
best English voice actor?
Nafume. So,
Understandable.
for best directors, our categories were Attack on Titan, Babylon again, Carol and Tuesday, Mob Psycho, Shirazami, and Vinland Saga. Our winner here ended up being Attack on Titan
I was gonna say I actually think Attack on Titan deserves this one.
for season 3. I stopped watching Attack on Titan in start of season 2 because it just went meh.
Yeah, it got it. That was a lot of
So
season
if it
2
can
wasn't
win,
great.
yeah, if it looks like they've, and from the buzz the show's been getting again, it does seem like they've turned things around. So that's kind of nice to see. It is a lot.
They
credit to the
actually
director.
answered a lot of questions in this, and they did a really good job of telling their story, even though you didn't know exactly what it was most of the time.
Yeah, and a lot of credit for that does go to the director. So it's nice to see him win
That's-
here.
That's 100% why I think that it deserves it over Vinland Saga.
But again, I'm super curious about this Babylon show because it's been nominated for a couple things and we know nothing about it. I'm super surprised the Kappa show keeps getting nominated for stuff because it is such an out there show. That I was
It's such a show.
surprised. So
Well, it was really well animated.
it was really well animated. Getting nominated for best director is a little surprising considering what it's up against. I was kind of surprised Demon Slayer wasn't up for this category. But yeah. Our next category is best character design, and this is the second place where I have problems. The first one being on the voice actor side. So, our best category.
Why is he mad?
So you'll find out in a sec. So our nominees for here again were Carol and Tuesday. That thing was nominated for like fucking everything. Dororo, Dr. Stone, Love is War. There's Nami again for our Kappas, and Vinland Saga. So looking at these character design wise, I probably personally my personal favorite of these was Vinland Saga. We didn't have monsters or anything in this show. It was just all people. But I liked the character design in this show because it is very different from your standard look and appearance. Such as like, for example, Love and War is very. You look at it and go, yeah, that's an anime.
It's high school anime.
Yeah, it's like it's a high school anime. Like it's.
Did they do a good job of making the characters look good and unique? Yes. Do I think
Sure.
that it holds a candle to other stuff on the list? No.
No. Carol and Tuesday from the screenshots I've seen and stuff like that does seem super well designed. The characters are very interesting looking wise from the few I've seen, but I don't know enough about it to go on there. Dr. Stone, I can't get into that show. I do not like how the characters look.
The main character.
I don't like how you look. Probably.
So the main character is very unique, in terms of what he looks like compared to everybody else. But Dororo is probably even more generic than in terms of what characters look like aside from the monsters than anything else in this list. The Kappa show was, when they're human, it's very okay, I've seen this style before kind of thing. So I personally would have given it to Vinland Saga. But that's not what happened.
Who stole it?
So who do you think won this category?
What thief stole it? Let's see. I think that Dr. Stone won it.
I'm gonna guess Dororo.
One of you is right.
It's me.
So
The other is
actually
me.
it's not comfy. So our winner here was
Hey.
Dororo, which is probably the most generic looking thing on here, unless you start looking at the monsters.
What? The dude's got
And-
knives for hands,
He
Mhm.
does, but it's like, okay,
and he's not even.
How does he?
person.
you remember this show though, Comfy, because this is one we've covered.
I do. I actually liked it.
I didn't like this show, but that doesn't influence about how I think something looks. Because there are shows where I'm like, for the animation, like our show we're covering for Alt the Way here, like the investigation show, I'm kind of meh on the animation of it, but I like the show.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I had anything good to say about Dororo. So I didn't like the show. I don't like how it looks.
I just have a
Did
good
it-
time.
Did you
don't
find
think
it?
it had
Did
the
you?
best design characters. Like
you
when I
find
think
it
about a
Bororo?
character of a show, I'm thinking about the main cast,
Oh,
right?
okay. I tried.
And I don't think it has the best design main cast, so I'm kind of surprised it won there. I would love to see what the breakdown was for votes on this one,
Mm-hmm.
because it's on our next category was best protagonist.
Yes.
So for this one, we had Emma in The Promised Neverland. I'm happy to see her nominated here.
Yes, she deserves to be nominated here.
We had Hakamaru nominated for Dororo. He's
Was that the main
a piece of
character?
cardboard. He's the
Yeah,
main
okay.
character, the guy with the swords for arms and
Hey,
stuff
don't
like
make
that.
fun of pieces of cardboard. They can be useful.
He's basically a piece of cardboard. We had Saitama from One Punch Man.
Yay!
Of course.
I hope you win.
We had Senku from Dr. Stone.
I don't honestly
No.
know if I think that Saitama deserves to win, but like I like him.
We had
He's my favorite.
Tanjiro from Demon Slayer and Toru from Fruits Baskets, which I guess she's the main character.
She's 100% the main character.
I know. I just don't like that anime. I find it really boring.
I don't like it either.
You're boring.
It is well animated. I will give them that. Like it's nicely drawn, but that's about it. Out of these characters, the one I like the most, like that I think would be the most deserving to win, was Emma.
Yep, I agree.
As we discussed before, she's a great main character. She's very nuanced, especially since she's a child and she's dealing with some insanely deep shit that is like adults wouldn't want to deal with. So she's the most complex and interesting
There
character
are plenty
here.
of adults who can't deal with like their own actual things, let alone like demons
Demons
trying to eat people.
you, like, and all of your brothers and sisters, like, and you being raised on a meat farm,
Yeah,
basically.
like
So
there are people that are like taxes. I can't handle my taxes.
I actually can't handle my taxes.
Comfy
It's
is
too
one of those
difficult.
people.
I think the least interesting
lived a
character
soft life.
here is Hakamaru. Is probably the least interesting character. He's literally just he doesn't do anything. like
He kills monsters.
he's not very well characterized at start because of how they designed his character, like his backstory, and that he can't really interact. So
That was the Dororo guy, right?
that's the Dororo guy.
Got
Yeah.
it.
So there's not a lot of interesting there. Saitama, as you mentioned, I like him. I like
I
his
do too.
character. But
He's not the best protagonist in his
He's
own
not the-
show.
he's not the best protagonist. No.
Right.
Toru for Fruits Basket, I just can't get behind that one either because it's a very slow, boring show in my opinion.
Yeah.
So she's just kind of a me character. Very Fruits Baskets is very old in terms of story. I know they've redone it recently. But because it's so old, it's very tropey nowadays. Like it's how it comes off, and so the main character is still very much a trope. Then we have Tanjiro, who I like, but also has some annoying characters to him. And we also have Senku from Dr. Stone, who I do not like this guy. Like,
I absolutely hate him. He's the reason I can't watch Dr. Stone. Like I hate his character so much.
and he's literally the title character.
Is that
is
the one?
supposed to be? He's. We haven't covered Dr. Stone, I don't think.
Is that the one that you said won? You won?
Our winner was Senku for Dr. Stone.
Okay.
He is the one who won. Unfortunately, I personally would have given this to Emma. She's the one I would have loved to have seen win this. She's the most complex and nuanced character here. He's not a very complex character. He's kind of he's supposed to be someone you don't like, but it's to the point where you can't. There's people who are driven off the show because of how unlikable his character is, such as Comfy. So
Yes.
Is that like
I'm
the
sad
whiny blonde
that-
kid from Demon Slayer?
That's the one with like the white green
I
hair.
know,
Looks
I know,
like he's
I
a
know.
Super Saiyan all the time. He's
Yeah.
annoying shit. I'm sad Emma didn't win because she is, as I said, the most interesting character out of these characters. So,
Mhm.
because that's frankly like Promised Neverland has the deepest story to it, I think, out of these shows that were nominated for Best Protagonist. So I'm sad she didn't win.
Right.
Our related category, we have Best Antagonist, so Best Villain.
Yes.
So
Who could be in this list?
Did
we have a
JoJo
couple
win?
of people here that are from things we don't know. So we have I from Babylon. We have Angela from Carol and Tuesday. So these are both characters we know really nothing about.
Yep.
We have Askeladd from Vinland Saga. We have Garu from One Punch Man, Isabel from Promised Neverland, and Overhaul from My Hero Academia. So straight
It's
off the bat,
time for an overhaul. I
there
had to.
are a couple of characters I just kind of disregard. Like I don't think they were ever going to win, and that was Overhaul and Garu.
Mhm.
I actually really liked Overhaul.
I do. I like him as a character. I love his powers. I love how he's used.
I think he's used very, very well.
But against these other characters, he's nowhere near as nuanced or as interesting as a villain.
Uh-huh.
Especially like Isabella.
So we haven't seen Babylon or really know anything about it, so we can't really talk about that. But she is, from what I've read, just quickly where you were going, Comfy, kind of like a mysterious figure running throughout the show. So she's probably pretty nuanced and interesting. I think Angela for Carol and Tuesday is like kind of like a competitor for our main characters. So, but that's more of an interpersonal conflict thing, I would say, because Carol and Tuesday isn't like people are trying to murder each other type of stuff, right? Like everybody else here. So again, I'm not neither of them won, so I'm not surprised. Our two more interesting characters, and one of these people did win, were Askeladd and Isabella. So both of these characters share something in common, which is they're actually in charge of raising our protagonists.
Mhm.
So they have this dual role where they're both the bad guy and the parental figure in charge of making sure they don't die. So Askeladd we know the most about because we covered the whole show. He's a very nuanced character. He's an unrepenting murderer and pirate. He,
Mhm.
he's basically the cause of all the shit that happens in the show because he doesn't care about
He's the
shit.
reason bad things happen.
Yeah, like constantly setting bad things in motion and like letting his own people die and murdering people and all this shit. So he's a very interesting character. Our other interesting villain is Isabella, who is the mother figure in charge of the orphanage for the Promised Neverland, where all the kids live. And it turns out that the orphanage, quotation marks, is actually a farm for demons to eat food, which is people.
The food is children.
And she's full well knowing of this, that she's raising children to be slaughtered and eaten by demons, and does not give a flying fuck about it, and is actually, it seems at times, super happy to have these kids get murdered, and to torment them psychologically. It's weird. Like, she's a weird, complex, evil character because, a demon eating people, sure, it's a demon, right? But here's a woman raising children from babies, not forming any type of human connection with them, and is happily sacrificing them to demons for her own personal gain.
Mhm.
She is probably the most evil character on this list by far, actual evil character, because there's no
Redeeming aspect.
there's no redeeming qualities to her. Askeladd, at least, everything he does is in service of his homeland and trying to protect the people that live there from outside threats, no matter what.
Right.
Garu is a cartoon character. He's I want to be bad because I want to be known as the strongest bad guy.
Yeah.
Okay. You're not really evil, right? He doesn't murder. He's shown protecting a child in One Punch Man.
Yeah.
Right. From harm.
Yeah.
Overhaul is he's got his own personal goals and stuff like that, and he's tortures a kid relentlessly. Like he literally cuts her into pieces over and over again.
Jesus.
But he's not a nice guy.
That sounds really rude.
And uses his abilities to restore her body. Disregarding the fact of how much mental trauma this would cause the child, he does not give a fuck about it.
Jesus.
He's a bad man.
He's a bad man, and he's doing this though for a goal, right? Which is not just his own personal enrichment. And he knows what he's doing is wrong. Like he realized what he's doing is wrong, but he's like, there's a bigger goal that I'm in service of here. I can't talk about because again, we don't know. And again, Angela seems like a character who is interpersonal conflict. It's not life or death. She's not trying to murder people. She's not sacrificing children. Isabella is the worst character on this list in terms of she is a monster in human skin.
So does she win? Did she win?
And she is the winner.
Yep.
Yay!
So this is one where I'm super happy with. I'm super happy she won. She is like the best villain we've seen, I think, this season in terms of complexity. So I like that she won.
Cool.
Next up, we have the best fight scene. So
I have a guess at what's gonna win here.
So our nominees were Emperor Crimson versus Metallic in JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, Levy versus Beast Titan in Attack on Titan, Mob
not the best fight in Attack on Titan. Don't know why they picked it.
Mob versus Toshiro in Mob Psycho, Tanjiro versus Rui, Tanjiro and Nezuko versus Rui in Demon Slayer, Thorfinn versus Thorkel in Vinland Saga. I don't think that was the best fight in Vinland
Who was
Saga
Rui
either.
in Demon Slayer?
Rui was the little spider boy.
Okay.
Yeah, the spider one.
Lower 7.
Oh, that one had to have won. I didn't even see
and
the
then
others.
we had Uchimaru versus Tiamat in Fate. So to the surprise of nobody, given the actual fight nominations here, which again, as Company mentioned, there's better fights in some of these shows.
There's better fights in a lot of these shows. There's better fights in JoJo's.
Yes, there's better fights in JoJo's. There's better fights in Titan, from what I've heard. I'd have to check.
Levi versus Kenny is the better fight in Attack on Titan. Change my mind.
There's better fights in Vinland Saga for sure than the Thorfinn versus Thorkel one.
Anything with Thor's in it.
In either of the fights, because these characters have 2 fights.
Yeah.
So, given the nominees, the winner, of course, was Demon Slayer.
Yep.
Yeah.
To the surprise of no one, it is of those nominated the best fight scene.
Is very well animated.
Now, that said, even if the better fight scenes were picked from the other shows, I could still see Demon Slayer winning because the Demon Slayer animation for fights is fucking incredible, which is something we've gone over a lot before.
Specifically, this one was
insane.
Good.
It was very good looking.
It's, they've got great animation. There's the great stylization for all the effects and stuff like that. It's the fight scenes in Demon Slayer are hard to top. There are characters in that show we can do without. I think Dale knows a couple of them, but the fight scenes are top notch.
Basically, his friends make me want to punch them both. Like they're fucking terrible.
I can't believe that you hate all of the main characters of Demon Slayer.
No, I hate the blonde kid and the pig man. They're both terrible, and they should fuck off and stop being in the show. That'd be great.
We're coming up to our last 5 categories, and we're getting into the bests of. So we have things like best couple, best drama, best fantasy, best comedy, and then of course the anime of the year. So
also
for the
best couple, I already have my choice. So
our best couple, surprisingly, with the first nominee was Baki and Kuzu in Baki, which is a fight anime. It's actually on Netflix, if you're wondering. We have our main couple from Love and War. We have the police officers in Rio and Mabu in the Sarazami. Yeah, which is okay. Like,
no, that's believe it or not, that is a subplot for like the back half of the show.
I know
is their relationship. So
yeah, I know it's just a weird subplot to get into.
I mean, hey,
Like this category, I would have expected to be all like romance type animes, and it's not. Oddly, like we also have a couple from Given. We have another one from Oh Maidens in Your Savage Season. It's the name of the show, and we have Ymir and Historia in Attack on Titan season 3. So
okay, well they're pretty cute too.
yes, so there was a lot of different couples chosen here. I think the one I disagree with the most, because I've watched the whole show of this, is probably Baki. It's not a good romance, and they are not a good couple.
You know what I agree with the most is Kaguya-sama Love is War, because that is a romance comedy anime and the romance is hilarious.
Yes, that is the whole point of it. They are also the winner of this category, probably to the surprise of nobody.
Ayo! I'm the winner.
But yeah, I know for a fact there were better couples than fucking Baki, so I don't know why it's here. Baki, for those wondering, is a very gory fight anime that is 3D in a lot of places, and it's interesting, but also kind of
Okay.
So there's not a lot of base given to them being a couple in this show. Even when they kind of focus on a little more in the back half of the show, it's still like, okay, I guess you're together as a couple. Like, it's just not great. So moving into our best ofs for the various genres. So starting with best drama, our nominees were Stars Align, Carol and Tuesday, The Promised Neverland, Fruits Basket, Vinland Saga, and Babylon. So again, a couple of these we can't really talk too much about. I really want to watch this Babylon show now. Fruits
I'm
Basket
very interested in it.
is
A show that we don't like.
its show. I think it was nominated for nostalgia and the fact that people have a kind of a nostalgia boner for it being something that people got into anime, watched when they were first getting into anime, and it's not a great show, not a great story. So it's a very, very dated.
Everything I've seen from it has made me not like it.
Yep. Stars Align, I can't speak too much about. If I recall, it's a sports type anime, at least in some ways. So those I think would probably be the bottom of the list for these 6. Carol and Tuesday, I know is a musical drama about these characters, so I'm not surprised it's there. Given how many categories it's been nominated for, again, I'm not surprised it's here. Our winner, though, was actually Vinland Saga, which
Good. That's what
I'm
should have
not
won.
surprised by. It is probably the longest of all these shows, I'm pretty sure, which gives them a lot more time to develop characters and develop the drama. And it is 100% a soap opera. So,
Well, even at 12 episodes, I think it's probably the best pick on this list.
probably, yeah. And it's the most soap opera of the drama of all the shows too, for build up and stuff.
100%.
Neverland is more of a psychological horror than a drama show, but is probably the second best
I'd
on there
call
for
it a
that.
drama.
It is.
Because it's about the breakout. If there was no escape, then it would be psychological horror to the fullest. But
I think it's just because they're adding that element in the drama, the characters, and stuff like that. So,
it's the prison break.
yes. So I'm happy to see Vinland win something. It is an amazing show. I don't think it gets the love it deserves because of where it's shown, which is Amazon.
Because it's on Amazon. Oh no, we got Channel 1 Plus, boys.
Oh, this is cool. Have fun with that, Comfy. Our next category, going into the last 3, is Best Fantasy.
All right.
So-
Ooh, woo.
Rising of the Shield Hero. Got it.
So,
Probably.
interestingly enough here, surprise of nobody, we have Demon Slayer. We have Stars and Nami again nominated here. We have A Sentence of a Bookworm.
Oh,
I don't like that show.
no idea what it's about.
We have Attack on Titan season 3. We have Astra Lost in Space, and surprisingly, The Promised Neverland.
It's not, I
Alright.
wouldn't call that a fantasy. I mean, I
No,
guess it
a couple of
is,
these-
but like,
couple of these-
fantasy.
So
it
a couple of
is,
these aren't.
but
So
like,
a
damn.
couple of these aren't straight fantasy for those who are
Right.
wondering.
I
think They're defining fantasy by not being
not being realistic.
Definitely not
yeah,
fantastic,
being in a
that's for
normal
sure.
World.
So, like Astra, for example, is the sci-fi, but it's still in this category because it's not based in realism. Like it's not like
Yeah,
Earth. Like there's magic and stuff like that. That's how they're kind of grouping this together.
wait, there's magic?
Well,
Yeah.
anything with like magic or like advanced technology, like
Oh, okay.
sci-fi, it all gets grouped together in this. Like it's not a reality-based show, like a slice of life or something like that.
Gotcha.
It fits in this category.
I mean, remember when
Um,
they got sucked into a different pocket dimension?
Yeah. So frankly, they could name this category better, but I also understand the naming of it.
Sure.
Kind of get
my
what they're going
least-
for.
My least favorite show on here is 100% Ascendance of a Bookworm. It is isekai where it's just me.
It's isekai for the sake of being isekai.
It's isekai where the main character is a child, and
Ah, yes, my favorite.
everybody loves falling around a small child because
Please
it's
no.
a small child that you fall around. So yeah, it's a no.
Insert second season of Log Horizon.
Speaking of strange isekais, though, there's one coming out where someone gets a girl gets reincarnated as a spider. So that's coming up.
Oh no,
Um,
I don't want to watch that. That sounds terrible.
uh,
like a normal
after
spider?
that-
Like
no,
a
a monstrous spider in a fantasy world.
Okay, all right.
We also, I think after that, I would have put probably Attack on Titan, just because this, like, the story lost me in that show, like 100%.
I promise you, it comes back around. But the
I know
problem
it's
is
supposed to
that it
get
has
better.
to come
It's
back around.
the problem is, yeah, that's the problem when you're looking at something the best of. If I know they're only looking at season 3, they're like, yeah, season 3 is great, cool. I gotta get through season 2 before I can get to that. So
Yeah. Do I want to get through
um,
season 2 is the question.
yeah.
I mean, I got through season
Uh,
1 and then I was like, okay, that's where it ends in my brain because I don't want to watch anymore.
Everybody's favorite Kappa show would probably be the next lowest on the list for me, because when we were watching the show,
It's a show.
it was very episodic, serialized. Like it's the structure of the show.
Yeah.
It's like the same structure you'd get for something like Power Rangers, right? It's
Mhm.
like here's the problem, here's how we fight it, here's how it ends. Like what the beats of it, even to the point where like the song and dance thing was kind of
It's
interchangeable.
literally copy pasted for every single episode.
Yeah, so that's hard to be a best of for me.
Yeah, I agree.
Agreed.
After that, I would put Astra. Astra is a little more interesting because there's the whole mystery of like who's trying to sabotage them, what the fuck is going on originally in the first place, how they got
Uh-huh.
out of deep space, stuff like that. So it's
Yeah, the important questions,
Yeah,
the ones that everybody cares about.
so it's a good show in that regard. Our final 2 shows were Demon Slayer and Promised Neverland, and for me personally, it would win Demon Slayer then Promised Neverland. I think Promised Neverland had the better story overall than the rest of these shows. I
Mhm.
like Demon Slayer a lot, but if I was just looking at the story wise, I would say Promised Neverland is the more unique story wise for things, because I've never heard of anything like it. Right, like it's very interesting in that regard.
Yeah.
Whereas guy going around to kill monsters, well, we've seen a lot of that. So,
Wait, who's this Geralt?
so our winner here for this category, what were you guys were thinking of? Do you think won here?
I don't know. Probably Demon Slayer. Wait, no. Does this one had Shield Hero in it? What is this best?
No, this Shield Hero is
It
not
doesn't.
up.
I'm surprised.
Okay.
I'll
Is
be
actually
real.
not up. I was surprised that Shield Hero wasn't in the spot of
I-
Descendants of a Bookworm. Like, I'm surprised Descendants got a vote. Like,
I
got
have
in
no
on the
idea.
nominees here, and Shield Hero didn't.
I'm gonna
I
I'm gonna
mean,
guess Shield Hero. Not Shield Hero. Fuck, I'm an idiot. Demon Slayer.
Demon Slayer.
Yeah.
That's just that-
Surprisingly, Demon Slayer didn't win this category.
Yeah, I knew you were like trying
Yeah.
to bait us to say
I didn't
Demon
really think
Slayer,
it was,
and
but
that
I
it was
just
going to
kinda
be
like,
wrong.
I think it's the only one
But
on
I
that.
knew
wrong.
that both Dale and I thought like Demon Slayer is like the obvious pick.
I-
So,
It is the obvious
now,
pick, but sometimes
If
the
I
obvious
have
pick
to
is
pick
also
something
right.
else, is gonna go Attack on Titan season 3.
No.
Promise
Damn.
Neverland.
All right. Well, I'm not making any more guesses because I'm not gonna make a damn fool of myself.
And again, Dale was correct. The winner here was The Promised Neverland.
I'm the greatest at guessing things.
But yeah, this is
blindly.
one of the categories where there's things I'm surprised they're not here, and I disagree with. Like, I disagree with a
Mhm.
sense of a bookworm being here, like rather than like Shield Hero. Like if I was
Gotcha.
going to choose an isekai from this season, it wouldn't have been this one. Like, so, and it hasn't really got a lot of buzz, so I'm kind of surprised it was up for the best of category. Our last best of category before we get to best anime is best comedy. And I hate one of the shows. Actually, I hate two of the shows that are on this list. So our nominations were My Roommate is a Cat.
Nice.
Sharon Azami is again up for a nominee here.
It is up for too many awards, guys. I'm gonna
It
be
is
real.
up for an insane number of awards. I'm surprised how many awards the show is up for. If anything, I think that's the biggest surprise of this award thing was how many awards it was up for. Because it's so goddamn weird and episodic in that regard. We have Love is War, to the surprise of nobody.
Yep.
How Heavy Are the Dumbbells You Lift? I love the fact it's nominated here.
Oh yeah.
And our other two shows I do not like are Isekai Quartet and Agretzko.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I want Kaguya-sama to win it, but I don't think it did.
Well, you're wrong because it did. Love is War actually took the best comedy.
I'm just so used to disappointment. I didn't think I'd be right.
I'm not surprised you are. It is probably
It's probably the best comedy
show on this list. Despite how many awards Shirazami is up for, I think the thing that holds it back is how formulaic the show is.
Yeah, I can see that.
Isekai Quartet falls down on the fact that it's the same reasons that we talked about when we covered it, is it turns the characters up to a level where they're parodies of themselves, and where some of these characters are basically parodies of things already. It does not work.
Yeah, the only characters I felt fit into this entire puzzle that they were making was the Konosuba guys, and even then they were not playing well off of everybody else because everybody else was just weird and not fun.
Yeah, it's a weird.
Which it sucks because I liked all of these shows.
Yes, I like these shows.
I have
especially
seen every single
Konosuba
one of them.
and especially Tanya. Like, I really like Tanya, and I'd love to get more of it. And I love Konosuba. I'm looking forward to more of it. But these characters don't mesh well together. Like, they're isekais, but the characters don't really mesh because they're not the same style of isekais. So
Yeah. Which is, I guess, kind of the point.
like, personally wise, I love how funny How Heavy Are the Dumbbells You Lift. But again, it's a formulaic show, so I'm not surprised it didn't win. But the best overall show, comedy wise, is Love is War, because it has a progression story wise, right? Which is something you love to see.
Did I make you guys watch Kaguya-sama Love is War?
No.
We have not watched that for the show yet. There are a few shows on this list that we're going to go over when we're all done here that we are going to cover. That were nominated. Some are only nominees, some are winners. So our last category is, of course, Anime of the Year. And there's a couple of odd choices here. So our nominees were Demon Slayer, as far as nobody, Carol and Tuesday, which again I haven't gone over the other categories, surprise nobody that's here. Mob Psycho, Vinland Saga, The Promised Neverland, and Oh Maidens in Your Savage Season, which is only up for one other award. So I'm kind of surprised it's up for Anime of the Year.
Yeah, that seems a little.
I have actually heard about this show.
The rest of them make more sense. Like Demon Slayer is super popular. Carol, as we mentioned, is up for a bunch of other awards and won a couple of them as well. Mob Psycho again up for a bunch of stuff, won a couple. Promised Neverland, same thing, for a bunch of awards. Same with Vinland Saga, and it's even won.
So
What
was Anime of the Year? Which one?
So the winner here is, of course, not a surprise because this is probably the most of all the categories, the biggest popularity contest.
Demon
The winner was
Slayer.
Demon Slayer.
Yep.
Yeah.
What? That's crazy.
Okay, so we should
Popularity
100.
wise, yes. Show wise, for me, no.
Okay.
I don't know about you guys though.
So
yeah, that was our winner. I
We've
think
actually
nobody was
watched
by that.
4 out
We've
of
watched
those.
a lot of these shows.
We've watched 4 out of 6 of those nominations, correct?
No, we've watched 3.
Because we haven't watched Mob Psycho, Carol on Tuesday, or
Oh, Maidens in Your Savage Season.
Oh,
yeah, that one.
okay.
I haven't even heard a ton of buzz about that show.
I've
which is the
heard
case for a
I've
couple
heard
things.
stuff here and there, but nothing
So
crazy.
the shows we really haven't heard anything about are Oh Maidens. So I'm just gonna make a quick list of things we haven't really gone over. So we haven't really watched Oh Maidens. We have not watched Babylon, which I'm curious about now.
Mm-hmm.
Carol and Tuesday, which my girlfriend tells me is on her watch list. As he literally just wrote me a note in Sharpie. Else on here have we not really even thought about looking at? We haven't looked at Dr. Stone, but I know that's something we've considered and kind of.
I think we need to
discarded.
cover one of the Anime of the Year nominations. I think we should do a Mob Psycho for next week.
I'd love to start on Mob Psycho for the ones we're gonna.
I think we should
Okay.
just say do that one.
But yeah, there are a few here I want to look at. Like over the next couple of weeks for things
sure.
that were nominated that we didn't look at.
Right, I agree.
Because there are some good things here. Of the ones I'd like to start with Mob Psycho, just like you, I love this show. We are gonna have to watch season 1
No, yeah, for sure.
because season 2 just kind of kicks itself into continuing the story, so we can't really skip season 1.
Of course.
But are that the other shows on here that we have not looked at that we should are Oh Maidens, Babylon, Carol and Tuesday, and Love is War. Those are the ones we should also be looking at for sure.
Okay.
All right, that sounds reasonable.
Yeah,
So
for
there
sure.
are like a ton of good shows here. There's some surprising wins, and there are some categories that are like, I don't know about that.
So yeah.
But overall, it's a good list. Some great winners. I'm super happy about things like Isabella winning, and that. But yeah, overall, it's been interesting. If anybody's curious about what should I watch, because I know that's something French brought up recently that Addison was trying to address with them. This is a good place to start. Like, check out the things that won. Like, they won for a reason, even if we disagree with them. Obviously, a lot more people agree with the winners than disagree, because that's how this award show works. So if you're curious and you're looking for something to watch, pick something from these categories. Like, check out a winner. Like, make it something that you wouldn't normally watch, like Carol and Tuesday or Maiden, something like that, right? But yeah, so we're going to cover Mob Psycho, the first 3 episodes of season 1, not season 2, just because we do need a base to start.
Right, for sure.
I know the girlfriend will be super happy because she loves that show.
Yeah. I'm
Mob
excited to cover it.
Psycho?
Yeah.
Yes.
It's a show for sure.
Yeah. So that's the plan for next week. Will be the first 3 episodes of Mob Psycho 100.
It should be interesting because Kelly doesn't like this show.
I'm the only one that hasn't seen it then. Okay.
I don't hate this show.
You definitely hate it. Pretty sure that's what you said. All right.
I hate everything Dale loves, so we'll figure out
Good.
if I hate it.
All right. Well, we've already gone over 2 hours today. This has been a long one.
Been a
So we
long
should
one, but kind of figured it was.
We
gonna
should
be.
really quickly, without getting distracted, tell everyone where we can find each other on the internet. Comfy, where do you live on the internet?
I actually live at my house, but you can find Dale at mixer.com/MrVengeance, Twitter.com/ I don't know what it is, actually. I was trying to meme, but I can't because I think he changed it recently to like Mr. Vengeance TV. But
That
I
is
don't
actually
know
it. That is it. Mr. Vengeance TV. Hey, we did it.
And you can buy his merch and 2.5 Weebs merch at shop at designedbyhumans.com/shop/MrVengeance. Yeah, but so now he can't get distracted, and you can find me at mixer.com/Comfimus, Twitter at Comfimus, now on YouTube under the title of Comfimus. Wow, look at that. How far we've come in so long.
About time.
And Copper, where can people find you?
You can find me online at Copperline Art, Copperline Designs on Twitter and Instagram, or just copperlinedesigns.com if you're looking for work stuff to get done. Before I get super busy with contract stuff.
And Dale, where can people find you?
You can find me at mixer.com/MrVengeance and everywhere else Mr. Vengeance TV, and also check out Comfy's merch store at designedbyhumans.com
So not TTV? Why not TTV? Trying to say
store/Comfimus.
Shop/Comfimus.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
What about TTV, Copper?
I said, why can't you be TTV? Like,
I
why not
mean-
Mr. Vengeance
TTV.
Because then,
Yeah, imagine being a TTV.
that would, I'm not on the purple place.
But you could.
Wow.
Be.
I could be.
We'll check back in next week and see who made the swap.
Oh God.
Who
Or how
will be
about-
this week?
All right.
Because you're on Mixer, how about MTV?
I want my MTV. All right. That's all right. You guys have good weeks. We'll see you next week.